Good morning. This is Robin with Levon V Farm, and this is our podcast, Freedom, Farming, and Living. So, currently, I travel all around the country, and we are homesteading and small scale farming at home. I want to share that journey in this podcast on what it takes to make that happen when you travel a couple hundred days all around the country. Um, and you have a spouse at home that is really holding down the fort, and just share the journey of how we make that work, the struggles that come with it, how to overcome them, and taking that journey from just those struggles split between traveling to the goal of being full time, get off the road, build a business from the homestead, from the farm, building a local food system for our community, and just share everything that goes with that as we go along. We've been at this for 2 years, and actually coming up on three. That was certainly not the goal initially, but it has become the goal as we've went through this homesteading journey. So, just to give you a backdrop on who we are, where we're at, what we're doing. My wife and I live in Northeast Louisiana. We're on an acre and a half on a public lake, and we have some rental properties that we're leasing some land as we've expanded our operation. We started off with just a typical garden, 6 chicks from the feed store, and we have expanded that over the last just shy of 3 years into a pretty decent layer flock. We're probably around 40 layers. Um, we have a few guineas, handful of turkeys, handful of geese. We dabbled in quail for a little bit. We just got out of quail for the time being. We have rabbits that we do both for meat for ourselves, as well as we sell meat rabbits. And we have some pedigreed rabbits that we actually sell for people doing shows, for some 4-H type stuff, as well as breeders for people looking for new blood for their rabbitries. We got into dairy goats, Nigerian dwarf goats, pretty early on. So we have raw milk on the farm. We have, my wife has really expanded into goat milk soap and other bath products and aromatherapy products that have been born out of that initial soap making. So she does bath bombs, shower fizzies, she does some lip balms, candles. Not that all these use goat milk, but the goat milk soap birthed all these other products. Some that use goat milk, some that don't. She makes elderberry syrup. So we have quite a few products that she does, that she sells. In addition to the eggs that we have, our excess eggs, she sells lots of products, farmers markets, some of the shops downtown, as well as from our home. We don't have an official farm stand as of yet. It's in the long-term plan. We just haven't worked out where that's going to live yet, as we're continuing to expand our gardening areas. We made the jump from just having the dairy goats and moved into also getting a dairy cow. So we have a Jersey cow. We started with an older one, kind of got our system worked out, learning how to see if it's something we wanted to continue. And she wasn't very productive, but it was a good learning lesson. So we actually had to send her to the processor after we got a new Jersey. It's a heifer, and she's looking to calve this spring. We have a guardian dog, a Great Pyrenees. We actually got her after we had been utilizing a guardian mini donkey. He's out with our sheep flock. Another thing we've recently got into is sheep. We have a couple of different breeds, bred into some hybrids where we bought out a flock. So we have some Katahdins that are pure. We have some crosses between some hair and wool sheep, Barbados, and Gulf Coast native crosses. And then we have a St. Croix Katahdin Cross Ram that we got from Greg Judy up in northern Missouri. We wanted to really get some of those good genetics and parasite resistance into our flock. And so we're in our first lambing right now. The flock that we bought was already pregnant, so we've had 15 lambs born at this point. We have lost 4, which is unfortunate. We're a little further north than where we bought them from, so it's a little bit colder where we are. But one of them was born really small, so I don't think in any environment that it would have survived. I think he wouldn't have made it regardless. The other 3, I'm not sure. The cold may have had something to do with it. Could have been some first-time moms. So we're figuring that out. It's unfortunate, but it's one of those things where it's our first time, so unfortunately it wasn't going to go perfect. I don't think even once you've been doing it that anyone really has 100%. I guess some do, but I wouldn't say that would be the normal. I think to lose 1 lamb would not be an unbelievable travesty. I think it's a very unfortunate thing, and we certainly didn't like losing any of them. But I think it's one of those things that, of course, many people say, when you have livestock, eventually you'll have dead stock. That's been unfortunate, but we are working our way through it. These sheep, we're retaining our ewes. We will sell we'll keep lambs for us, for our freezer, and the rams, that is, beyond just keeping the ewes that we're going to put back into the herd, or excuse me, the flock. And then we'll keep a few lambs that will go in the freezer for us, and then the rest we're going to be up for sale. They'll be either sold as live or custom processed. We're actually working with the Department of Ag on private labels. So we have quite a few things that we are juggling, and the most recent is we started leasing some land. We've just shy of 10 acres, and we're going to move our sheep around on it as well as some of our other animals. That's a big main use for it, but it's given us the opportunity to break out into market garden. So I've prepped our first area. We've got a 40 by 50 that we ran some pigs through. This is just grass growing, trees dropping some leaves, but it's a fairly open area where we put the first setup. So we ran some pigs through there, kind of help disturb the ground a little bit, break it in some, obviously put down some manure. And we've covered it, we've tarped it with a silage, and we are looking forward to the spring, getting our first sizable planting done, and then see how much we can produce and how much of that we can put into our community. Where we live, we're in a really big agricultural area, and when I say agricultural, row crops, primarily row crops, and then hunting. There's a good bit of hunting and fishing, but the main thing that goes on where we're at is definitely the row crops. So there's a lot of land, but not a lot of food. So we're not in a food desert. There is a small grocery store that brings in food from out of state, actually, because we're so close to the Mississippi line. There's a couple of producers, local producers, but there's not very much provided. The farmers market's really more like a cottage market, more so than an actual farmers market. So we're hoping to be part of an increase to availability to the community, and maybe it'll inspire some others to do the same. We are on a coalition that's all about getting local food, healthy food. It's called Healthy Communities. It's the Louisiana Agricultural, LSU Ag Center, rather, monitored program, and we've been really thrilled to be a part of it, and we're hoping that it helps spur on some local food, not just a local food system by a couple of people, but we're hoping that will really get some more people taking the initiative to produce what they can for themselves, for their neighbors. We'll have a produce market beyond just the normal farmers market that exists, but there will be an actual produce market, and we're looking for more of the community to get involved with it. It's still in its early infancy, but we're getting closer to nailing things down, and which is great because we're coming into spring, fairly soon. It's not too far away, certainly not down here in the south. So that will be exciting. I'll be really excited to share the ups and downs of that journey as well, along with our personal journey. As I said, I do travel. I'm actually on the road now. I'm not driving, but I'm fixing to get on the road. I was up in St. Louis, Missouri, checking out a project there. And yesterday I left there, headed to West Virginia. So I'm in Indiana now, and I'm about to get on the road. So I'm going to cut this episode off. I just wanted to just get this started. This is my first podcast. If you found me here from YouTube, you probably know a good bit of what I've just talked about already, or at least you've seen videos of a lot of the things that we're doing. I'm going to be continuing to work on the YouTube channel, but because I'm on the road so much, part of what I do is I think about what I'm going to do when I get back. And I do some of the management of what breeding we're doing and what litters are coming, a lot of the farm tracking. And my wife focuses on the day-to-day. And then when I get home, I move into a lot of the day-to-day, along with kind of the bigger thing being what projects need to get done. What issues do we have that I need to get fixed? What projects that we've started or wanted to get started that I need to get working on? And so a lot of my time on the road is thinking through and planning so that when I get home, I can hit the ground running. What that's kind of led me into is I'm a little more project focused, and I kind of forget to bring the camera with me because I'm in such a hurry, because sometimes I only have a couple of days and then I'm back on the road. And then other times I have a couple of weeks, and I'm going to work on being better about my YouTube, at least sharing small segments instead of trying to make it such a big production type thing where I take the camera around with me on every single thing I do. I'm going to do better on picking certain things. So that's going to be part of my planning as well, is on some of these things where I've got a specific project that I'm going to work on. I'll bring the camera out, work on that project, maybe do a farm tour when I come home, just a quick glance around. It's certainly not every time, but when we have new litters born, or new things growing, or new projects that have their integration is really working out, I want to share that. So I thought that a podcast would be the best way to continue forward from a content creation standpoint, to share this journey as best I can, certainly without going weeks or even a month at a time in between videos. And there's so much that happens. So I can share some of what's going on at the farm via the podcast, as well as share some of my ideas, thoughts, and certainly any feedback that I get, related to the things that we're doing. I'm always thrilled to learn from people that have been there already, or what people are currently going through. Certainly, I'm going to make plenty of mistakes, and hopefully those mistakes can help people learn. And when I get it right, sometimes hopefully that can help people learn too. So I hope you'll continue to follow along with our journey on this. Again, this is the first podcast of what hopefully will be many to come. I don't know, because of the way I travel, how often they'll be, if it will be just strictly a weekly thing, or if I may be able to squeeze in a couple in a week. But please follow along with me and have a blessed day.